Yo, 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 what's that word? 32 Minute Podcast episode by 63, 64. I'm gonna get on that and let y'all know. Got my guy Elmy here. How you doing today, brother?
Good, good, good.
What's up? What's up? So when we bring Elmy around, we're gonna talk about boxing. Funny time we had last time. We posted that clip in the short. Y'all go watch. Y'all showed a lot of love. It was last time I looked over 4,000 views of, admitting his faults. Like we probably all had about that Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia fight. Uh, so we back here with some more questions. Speaking of fights that have passed at the moment of we recording this, how do you feel about Tank versus Frank Martin?
Tank versus Frank Martin. It looked exactly how I thought it would look. Gervonta getting the better of the counter punching and then breaking him down. And that's what happened.
Right.
He did perfect. He did exactly how I thought he would fight.
Where do you think Frank Martin should go from here?
I mean, he's already went all the way to the top. He went from wherever he was, and then went all the way to the top and fought the biggest dog. I mean, he could go the cash route and just find another big name, and go that route. I honestly, he could go that route or try to find a tough fight or rebuild himself for a title.
Right. And I'm asking because a lot of people were saying, and from looking at him in the lead up to the fight, he looked at drained. So I was thinking maybe if you would have said something like he need to move up in weight. But we'll see where he goes from here. He was probably this is probably
him move up to 140.
Yeah.
If that's the excuse for rocking with. Brother, you lost. How you were supposed to lose. Like, sorry, not sorry. Like, you got exactly what, even though I'm wrong about the Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia fight, I still stand on my decision because I picked based off of, styles fights and, it could be past fights and it could just be, just the styles and the caliber of fighters they're both fighting is how I come up with my analysis. So I stand on that. He got beat. I mean, shoot, he did great. He started boxing at 17 to 21 years old and fought for a world title or whatever he did at 28, 29, 31-ish. Like, I mean, he did everything he could have did.
Okay. So from what I'm hearing for you, and I'm asking because I don't want to misinterpret or assume, do you think that Frank Martin's at that gatekeeper status at this point?
I won't say gatekeeper. I just say he was at a point where his name was hot enough to book the Gervonta fight. That's all.
Right.
I mean, because what if he would have went a different route instead of fighting Gervonta and fought, two guys that he is supposed to beat? He fights a guy where he might have the advantage, fight two fights, win a world title, go his own route. So, I mean,
still do, for sure.
Which he could do, but the Tank money's there. Not saying, that's what every fighter dreams of, the pay-per-view fight. That's it right there. Win or lose. But you want to win, of course, but that's the one you want.
Yeah. Speaking of Tank and pay-per-views, another guy that's been in the news, particularly against Cam and Mace, but against Twitter as well. How do you feel about Shakur and his fight surrounding Artem?
I think he did great. I think the guy that he fought, he even said it's a veteran. The guy was smart. The guy came in guns a-blazing, like he was the pressure fighter against Shakur. He couldn't penetrate Shakur. Eventually, the punches and the body shots kept adding up. And, him moving and stuff, and the rounds got longer. And he lost. That's all that is. And then Shakur, when I saw Shakur walking him down, maybe Shakur could have been a little more aggressive and took more risks. But Shakur had him where he wanted to. If Shakur's, everybody say he's pillow fisted. I believe it was fifth round and up, or seventh round and up, fifth to seventh round and up. he started walking him down. And the reason why I forget the fight, because what's today's day? It's like the 2nd, right? It's the 2nd. And that was like, what, 2 weeks ago? But from what I remember and how I broke it down, he didn't get touched. The guy eventually got tired or broken down. That I don't know for sure. I'm not him. He knows the truth. And then whether he started moving, he got on his bike. He pulled the Shakur and said, "Nah, I'm gonna survive." He just did it a little too late.
Right. So let me ask you, with the reaction after that fight from the fan base or whatever in the boxing community, with Shakur being a free agent now and him obviously being influenced by Terrence, who became a free agent from Top Rank, what do you think Shakur should do in the next 2 years to like elevate to a higher status, maybe turn around the public opinion?
Well, his style's not going to change, and I don't think it should change. So people need to get that out their head. Oh, maybe one day he'll trade for the fans. Maybe one. No, bro. Shakur is what Shakur is. Hate it or love it. That's what it is. Like, that's his style. Tank, and you don't see Tank brawling. You see him counter punching, punching. Yeah, he gets the knockout though. The people don't see. Like Pitbull Cruz is gonna go get it. Ain't no angles. Like people compare him to Mike Tyson, but he's like a Mike Tyson type. But in terms of build and how they approach the fight to an extent. Mike Tyson used angles with his punching, with his hooks, and then ain't no jabs. With if you're talking about styles, I mean, look at Pitbull Cruz. That's a straight come forward monster. He ain't no sidestepping, ain't none of that. You get in the hook and we at it. This a fight. And then Gervonta's like, it's a fight, but I'm gonna get you. Like, and then Shakur ain't no get me. That's it. Like, you get got, ain't no get got. Like, it's styles to this.
I think if like people that don't watch boxing, then you hear about a Tank, you'll think that he like that super aggressive. But people don't know Tank is one of the most patient fighters in boxing, like one of the best trap setters in boxing in general.
He's a counter puncher with power. He's a Shakur with power. Like,
right. Which is
that's all it is.
Yeah,
That's all. It's the same shit. Just one person got this. One person's got power. That's all the difference. They fight exactly the same. They're lefties that counterpunch and wait for you to do something wrong.
Sure. So, we're gonna talk about that later on. How you feel about Canelo versus Edgar Berlanga? Let me say his name right. Yeah, Edgar Berlanga.
First of all, Canelo's still top 5 on the pound for pound list, so we'll just throw that out there.
Yeah.
Secondly, I think it's crazy, but I mean, shout out Edgar, man. Congrats to Edgar Berlanga, man. I understand. I feel like Canelo is at a point where he's like, bro, y'all gonna say I'm gonna lose to this guy anyways. Like, in his mind, like, you gotta put yourself in his shoes. Like, say to yourself, I'm the undisputed 2-time world champion. I done beat everybody the heck up.
Yeah.
Who can beat me? Like, every time they say I can't beat this guy, I beat him. Like, after a while, it's like, okay, now I'm just take the money fight. And he didn't give Boo Boo to fight and gave somebody else to fight. And I think Edgar Berlanga, I even peeped the interview where he kind of like said it. He was like, nah, Canelo's at the point where he can pick and choose the fights that make sense career-wise to an extent. Of course, David Benavidez is the right person, of course. But at the same time, in his mind, Canelo's mind, he's saying, bro, I can beat David Benavidez. Like, y'all are tripping. And he's disrespecting me too much. Like, after I win a fight, you at my interviews, I'm not giving you the fight. He gave it to Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs was respectful. He gave it to now he gave it to Edgar Berlanga. Edgar Berlanga, every time you see him, yo, what's up? And he's always talking nice about him on the interviews. So
okay. That's an angle that I never thought about. You saying
so like, if you think of it in the fighter's mind, like the fighter's mind saying, bro, I'm not finna lose. You think I'm gonna lose. Like, I started at 140 and I fought at 175.
So you think Canelo? It isn't about picking David Benavidez because it's more of their personal relationship versus anything
A little
else.
bit of everything. A little bit of this, a little bit of the disrespect on the interviews, keep calling Canelo's name out. A
Yeah,
little bit of, a little bit of the David Benavidez is a tough opponent. Two.
yeah,
And then three, like, bro, y'all think I'm gonna lose. I think I'm gonna win. Like,
yeah,
y'all are tripping and y'all already done this before. I'm like 50, he's like what, 55 and 2-1. And 55, 2-2. That
yeah,
guy doesn't think he's gonna lose. He lost to Floyd Mayweather, and then Floyd Mayweather, the Mr. 50-0, and then loses to Bivol, big as hell.
yeah,
A jab Floyd type of style, not Floyd style with the Philly shell versus the Soviet style, but it's
yeah,
still a basic 1-2 jab style. It's just they approach it a little different.
yeah, yeah. And Triple G too, but it is what it
Hey,
is.
hey, yeah. I don't know.
um, so to more current times, how do you feel Bud will transition in weight, and what you think about the fight against Israel Madrimal?
How Bud will transition in weight. He's
Yeah.
been at 147 for like 5 years. We've been calling for the Spence fight for 5 years. He's
Mm,
dang near, I won't say as weight drained, but he's dang near as weight drained as Earl Spence.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, if anything, the
Agreed.
fight should have happened earlier. Y'all waited too long. If anything, it was a
Yeah.
closer fight if Earl and T-Bud would have been fought instead of marinating it.
Mm-hmm.
Like in terms of because T-Bud's coming from 140 to 147. Not saying they'll make a difference, but you let T-Bud get big. If he's a small guy, you let him get big, and you got too big.
All right.
So I mean, what?
I mean, with Bud moving up to 154 for this fight,
Yeah,
which will
yeah,
be
yeah. But
tomorrow.
I'm saying
Yeah.
though, he's been at 147 for 5, 6 years.
Right.
He's already fought Kell Brooks, Sean Porter,
Mm-hmm.
what's the other one? And Earl Spence at 147.
Yeah.
And I think Jeff Horn.
Yeah. Had to
That's
be.
four.
Yeah.
I could be
I
wrong.
think that's where he got his first title at 147.
Yeah, Jeff Horn. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Jeff Horn, you got four, and I feel like there's like at least two more.
Yeah. It was one guy that just got knocked out by Boots. He fought that guy. I
I
forgot his
forgot his
name.
name. Yeah, the one that might have dropped him. I think that's the guy that drops him.
Nah.
But that's at 147 though, right?
Yeah, I know you're talking about the
So
one they say
that's what I'm
dropped.
saying. That's two people. I
Yeah.
mean, he got dropped. Like that's a memorable fight. You dropped Terrence Crawford. That's still I did that.
Yeah.
Like
For real.
that's your highlight. I did drop him though. Y'all seen that? Like he
Yeah.
gonna say
Well,
that.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, like
Well,
I mean, I dropped T, but I don't know what Earl did. Like that's my like scapegoat. Like a bit ain't like that's my scapegoat. If I'm him, like you ain't doing me like that.
for sure. How you feel about that fight playing out tomorrow? Though obviously they're gonna see it afterwards, but how you feel about that fight playing out against Israel?
I think T Bud is gonna dominate, but I do think he should be careful because the guy that dropped him has the same build and the same type of style as that guy.
Mm, good point. Good
So I
point.
mean, I would take that and run with it. You can't out. It's hard to outbox him. It's hard to outmuscle him. Basics dropped him once. Basics could get him the second time.
Mm.
But I got my money. I mean, I ain't putting no money on nothing. Don't everybody. Hey, whoever put their money on Devin, look, that's your business.
Facts.
Not on the copyrights. We just
So
nah.
another because it's a loaded card. It's a loaded card.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're gonna be tuning in to this one, but that Jarell Miller versus Andy Ruiz. He been out the ring for a while. How you think that fight is gonna play out?
Um, I don't know because they're heavyweights. I honestly don't like to bet on heavyweights But make guesses on heavyweights because it's so like it is skill at that top level. I'll never say it's not skill. We know it's skill, and we know there's the best is the best. But at the same time, like the it's not like that you might got a 25, 30, 33% chance of maybe not. But it's it shakes the room a little more. It's easier to get a knockout at heavyweight. But I do think Andy Ruiz is gonna win. But I don't know. They work together. Miller said, "I'll take the fight."
I don't know.
I've heard they train together. I don't know. It's a banging fight if you ask me. The reason why I say Andy Ruiz because he's been there, got a title, and he's in shape. He's hungry, and he's been waiting for a while. Even though yes, Miller's been waiting for a while too and stuff. I think Andy Ruiz is like, he he still got a lot to prove.
I feel you on that one.
Sometimes having a lot to prove, in boxing, that helps.
Yeah. So, just discuss Andy Ruiz, AJ.
I'm gonna get my charger. Right. Oh goodness, no, you're good. I gotta get my charger, my man. Sure. I'm on like 4, 5.
We'll wait till you get it real quick. Yeah.
Good fight though. Jarell Miller is a great fight, and Andy Ruiz. I am definitely tuning in because I'm curious. I'm curious as to how good. Are you recording?
Yeah, you good.
I am curious on Andy Ruiz and Jarell Miller. Will Andy Ruiz prove his doubters wrong? Because, I mean, he's probably in the situation where they think it's a fluke, but his body's looking great. That money, finally helped him. The money that he got from the Anthony Joshua fight finally helped him, transition to a better camp, provide probably. And now he can have a better camp and lose weight and actually be serious about the sport.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you get a chance to watch Bud's interview with Andre Ward?
I saw pieces of it. I didn't see like the whole clip.
Okay. Well, they talked about again a potential fight with Canelo and things of that nature and a few more things. How do you feel about athletes, especially to the caliber of a Ward, transitioning to the sports and media realm?
It can be really good or really bad. Depending on who it is. What do you mean? Like the way Andre Ward is?
Yeah, when you said it could be really good or really bad, like, could you touch on that a little bit? Like,
yeah, are you talking about Andre Ward, how he's a broadcaster now?
Well, just athletes in general, a lot of them are getting into like the podcasting space and things of that nature. Not everybody's gonna come out like how my boy from the Washington Wizards, who they say was a bust. I forgot his name, man. Tall dude. I forgot his name. But he said he used to get bullied by Jordan. He came out, and now Ward's coming out in this more professional tip. Like, what do you think the benefits for their pros playing career are?
I think it's dope. It's something for them to transition to. They love the sport still. I mean, some people can't coach, don't want to coach, or shouldn't coach, even though they are at that caliber, but at the same time, they want to still be a part of the sport. And then they're talking, on it and breaking down to a high level and for enough for people to understand,
yeah,
what they're doing.
Sure.
So yeah, so like so people can understand what's going on. Cause some people I'd be like, oh, I don't know what they talking about. Or they, could be wrong, but then that's the good part. Breaking it down, the science of it and what they see, and just breaking it down simpler. versus the bad could be the biasness, because some people hate certain announcers because they feel as though they're biased.
Timothy Bradley. A lot of people be.
See, everybody says that, but I don't think he's biased. That's the crazy part. I don't know. Maybe I'm not watching the right fights, but like the fights I watch him in, everybody says that, but I just think he says the truth, but it hurts. Yes. I think he says the hurt, or he says it and it's just not received the right way, and it's not coming from the right person. Like, it, like, even if Floyd is wrong, it'll hit a little different because it's Floyd.
Yeah.
Definitely. Versus, but in my opinion, I don't be hearing Timothy Bradley say anything wrong. Yes, he said his favorite fighter is Loma. Yes, he said his favorite fighter is this, but I've never seen like biasness to an extent. Like, I've heard him switch the gears and be like, oh no, this fighter is good. And then lay on, oh, this fighter is good even when he's losing a round, and then switch up. If Lomachenko don't speed it up, or if this person don't speed, he's talking about the attribute that this guy got, that it's on a superior level. Because sometimes you know who's supposed to win, but it doesn't happen like that all the time in boxing.
Right.
So, or decision. People want to talk about robbery all the time. That's what I'm talking about. Like, you know what you're talking about, certain fighters, and then when it don't happen, it's like he be telling them the bitter truth. So I feel like maybe that's what it is, or I'm watching the wrong fight. Because honestly, at times I feel like Andre Ward is biased sometimes, only because he's been in the ring with so many fighters, and not in a bad way, but just fighters don't like you going against them. Yeah. And Andre Ward was a fighter, is a fighter, always will be a fighter, to an extent, even if he's not fighting no more. But he's been in the ring with Shakur, he's training these guys too. Of course, he's not going to want them to lose. Yeah. And if you just bet against the team, it's going just like, in boxing, is the worst.
Yeah. So I got two more questions for you. You brought up Loma. He just recently entered a negotiation with Tank's camp. Of course, there's obviously the Shakur fight out there, but what do you think is the next position that Loma should take with him pulling out of his Tank negotiations?
So with that, what I think Loma's doing versus what he should do, I think it's the same. I think he's doing what he should do next, and I think he's waiting out the storm. For the people that don't know, Loma's been in title fights since his second world title. I believe he's had an amateur record of 390-something victories and 1 loss. And he won 2 Olympic gold medals in the Olympics. So his first fight was like a dude that's like 26 and, something like that, with a lot of fights. And then the second one, his second fight was a world title fight. He lost, but the dude he lost to was low-key hitting him below the belt a lot. I guess he used veteran tricks. And that dude should have had a point out. And Loma won a few rounds, like 3 rounds, and take away 2 points. It almost should have ended no contest. The dude was hitting below the belt. And that dude's record was like 45-3-2 versus a guy that's 1-0. So that's not a loss. That's a lesson in your second pro fight, especially if you can handle, the after effects and doesn't get you down. But I think he's waiting out the Shakur. With that being said, to answer the question, I think he's waiting out the Shakur and Tank fight so he can get the winner of that fight. I think that's what Loma's doing. He's already had a questionable decision taken away from him with Devin Haney versus Loma. Right. Why would you jump right into the fire again? You got 3 losses. That's how they're looking or trying to look at you. That's how they can brand you, even if it's not true.
I feel that. Speaking of the Olympic record, men's and women's have started yesterday. They had a controversy. How do you feel about how boxing is going in the Olympics this year, if you had a chance to watch any?
When it came to the controversy, talking about the women
yeah, it was in the women's.
I honestly don't know, because there's been so many stories. Like, first it was like, you see the story, transgender beating up girls. Ooh. And then it was a woman that's born woman, but she's born with some type of mutation to where it's like she has more testosterone than the average woman. So the facts are not out. With that being said, if it was a born male that transitioned to a woman, no, of course they need to do that somewhere else. Women versus women, born women versus born women, born male versus born male in the Olympics. That's it. And then if you want to do a transgender type, then yeah, then do it that way. With the girl though, I don't know. That could have just been a rumor. And then that one girl caught that punch and was like, damn, and she was already a power fighter. That was her cop out to say it's gotta be a man. She probably really believed it too. To an
Right.
extent. I don't know the facts on that, so I'm gonna skip past
Neither
that.
do
But if it is a
Definitely.
transgender, born male fighting women, that's no good. No good. Throw it away.
Okay, so how you feel about any of the male prospects coming up this year in the Olympics?
I honestly haven't been able to watch it. I've been a little focused on basketball too. With the Noah Lyles thing and then that. Like, I'm just trying to see Team USA win right now.
Hey, Boston Celtics fan here, the master troller.
Hey.
I'm gonna ask you about that real quick. Cause my last question, how you feel about watching the Olympic basketball? Like with everything they got going on, some close wins, no losses, but definitely some close
I
wins.
think
Yeah.
in 2 years, my bad. I think in 2 years, the USA will have a problem. Like in 2 more Olympic years, not like 2 more years, 2 more Olympics. I think the USA is going to have a real problem. Basketball's catching up around the world. Even though the NBA is the premier league, because the top 10, I believe I've seen the top 10 list, and I think every single one plays in the NBA. So the best players in the world are still in the NBA.
Yeah.
The NBA still holds, with the whole Noah Lyles thing, the NBA still holds the standard. I think for 2 more Olympics, 2 to 4, 2 to 4 max. I give them 4. If they don't do more, go USA, go USA, go USA.
At the same time, you heard he said 2 to 4. That's 8 to 16 years of U.S. domination. We talked about this on another podcast. By the way, y'all go watch all the other videos, subscribe to the channel. But we talked about the Olympic basketball and stuff like that, and it's interesting you saying the rest of the world is catching up. My point about that was simply because the game is so different now than in 92, 96, and 2000, to where it was more individual play. And of course, they couldn't compete with the United States on that level. Once the Spurs started getting their success, a lot of coaches come from that coaching tree, and now those coaches are coaching internationally. And I don't think the talent level was even close still. It's not close, but there's a way to play the games. I'm not going to say juke the system, but it's like more
If you
strategic
play
based.
basketball, more
Right.
team, they could have had more practice for their country. Everybody already kind of knew what it was going into the league. Whereas the USA just assembled their best and then said, let's see what we got.
The three-pointer is the equalizer. At the end of the day, if you can create open three-point shots, you got a chance against anybody. And we saw that in the finals this year. But boxing focus. So I'll ask you this last question about boxing. So Turkey Al-Sheikh, he has a plan to bring all of the biggest promotional companies, including Top Rank, Matchroom, and Golden Boy, and a couple more together to create to put boxing under one umbrella, kind of like the UFC, to have those parallel big events, including Riydah season, which is happening tomorrow, August the 3rd, will be the first event in the United States. How do you
Basically,
feel
a Premier League.
Yeah.
The Premier League, the league that's going to be the reigning premier. That's what you're saying, right?
Right. How do you feel
Basically.
about that? Like that right there.
Hey, if you got the money to do it, I mean, that's tough. That's tough. Supposedly, you know how false information goes. Supposedly, he bought Matchroom and another one and Golden Boy already, or he's in talks. But then I don't know. Oscar De La Hoya posted on Instagram saying that they aren't in talks. I don't know. at the same time because it's business. You know, business is kept quiet till business is
Definitely.
over.
Right.
But he honestly, man, it'll stop the whole one belt thing. It'll stop the whole four belt thing. Who has the real WBC, WBO, WBA, IBF, IBO? You know, the four main belts. You know that everybody wants. You know, maybe
Yeah.
WBC being people's favorite, and WBO, I believe. I'm not sure which one it is, but there's two of them. I mean, I assume I always like the WBC. Me personally, I like the way it looks, but that's another topic. Um, it'd be dope, man. I think it'll be good. Who knows? It might be bad. But it probably gets rid of all the promoter stuff. Cards could be made easier if you're a real. It probably weed out the real fighters and not real fighters to an extent. Like, no, you go by the ranking system. Like, you know, you fight this or you strip, bro. Like, ain't no, you knew what it was. You
Right.
know, unless you got like you just your name and it's a money fight. You know,
Yeah.
um,
I asked because I read an article that they're trying to parallel the UFC. How the UFC like throws these events where they have, of course, a headliner, the best fighting the best. Like they want to throw that multiple times in a year, like the UFC does. So with that sort of thing happening, you're gonna see the biggest fighters fighting the biggest fighters more often, which is what the fans is really been asking for a long time. So how do you think that'll affect like the top level boxers and stuff like besides getting richer? Like, how you think that's gonna affect
um,
them?
I don't know if they're because you know people want to be a business too in boxing. Like, it's a lot to it. I mean, if they do that and pay and buy out all the promotions, it'd be crazy power move. It's a power move for sure. It's a power move. You're trying to shape boxing to how you want it. You basically took boxing now, and you honed it. This entity that's been broken up for years, like because I'm sure we're not Turkish Alasik is not the first person to think of this. Could be, he probably got enough money to do it. I don't know. I
Yeah.
know it'll be big. Like
Yeah.
it probably not. I don't know. I want to
Yeah.
see it happen, but I don't.
You
Like
don't. What are your concerns?
uh, maybe fighters don't get the money they think they were getting.
Hmm.
Because I mean, the top boxers versus top UFC fighters. I mean, paid is different.
Yeah.
UFC fighters got they check from boxing. They the biggest paydays. It wasn't
Right.
Conor versus Khabib. It was Conor versus Mayweather.
Facts.
It was the
Facts.
biggest fight in Gates. I
Facts.
mean, but UFC, I guess, is kind of catching up. It's becoming an art. It's to an extent, it's becoming an art.
Do you think? Well, what do you think is the biggest fight outside of two traditional boxers and that can be made right now? And not,
Like in boxing,
well, yeah, like they're boxing and they're surrounding the fighting world, but they're not necessarily traditional boxers. Like
what do you
what
mean? Like an
fight
MMA fighter comes into boxing?
could be an MMA fighter, could be a retired boxer as well. The reason I'm asking is because there's been a lot of back and forth between Jake Paul and Conor McGregor. And so obviously that have a probably record breaking type gate on it if that were to
Okay.
happen.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to see who do you think could be matched up to create that type of impact.
Who can be matched up? I don't think it makes that much sense, but it makes a lot of money. It doesn't make sense, but Terrence Crawford and Canelo could probably do it. You got Canelo and T Bud. So I mean, or Canelo versus David.
Mm.
Canelo versus T Bud would be nice too. I mean, Jake Paul versus Conor would be great. I mean, you hit
Yeah.
it on the head. I got Jake though. No disrespect, like Conor. If you see this, I don't care, bro. Like, what do you want me to say? You win in UFC and in the streets. Jake Paul's only been practicing boxing. Yes, you started in boxing, fought Floyd, and did your own training of boxing. This is his only thing, though. I think Jake Paul is above, no disrespect, UFC fighters. I hate to say it. We're seeing, honestly, some people hate it, but we're seeing in real time that boxing and MMA are two different things. People are not peeping this. This is a legendary moment between us two right here, Brock. I just want you to know that. Like, we're witnessing like respect going into boxing realistically. Because there's people that thought Mike Perry was gonna win because he's bare knuckle, he's a badass, and all he does is box and bare knuckle striking just to get knocked out. It wasn't a dive. I know it hurts your heart. It hurts. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. And then y'all talking now. They're still talking about Alex Pereira beating him. Oh, he's got a great left hook. This and that. Okay, y'all really gonna be really like hurt. Like that's gonna honestly, Jake Paul versus Alex Pereira be great. Because you know why? It's putting respect into boxing, even though, like, I understand boxers, they want that check and they feel as though they deserve it because they put in more years, more work. You know, people have been boxing 4 years, since they were 4 years old, 6 years old, been in the Olympics, and he's just making money off boxing, but he's not, I understand that. There's when people are watching these boxing fights, they be giving the money to real fighters, I guess. But in real time, we're watching boxing get its respect back. Like, we're watching Jake Paul get his respect. We're watching how long it takes for a boxer to start, actually becoming a boxer. Yeah. Like, I know he hasn't fought no boxer. And when he did fought a boxer that was his age, he lost to a guy that had 40 amateur fights. He fought 40 times for free. So, I mean, like, to an extent, like, too much experience. You fought 40 fights. You had to at least been boxing 5 years prior to him boxing, and then still training in between. And your brother's the heavyweight world champion.
Yeah,
but, like, it's got to be not even that. It's not in your DNA. You still think like it's hard to say you're not gonna win. Know. But right. Alex Pereira, like, bro, I'm sorry. Like, for boxing, I think he stands too square. Like, he stands like this with his hands like that. And, the left hook is powerful, but they're fighting in 4-ounce gloves.
True.
Like,
man, Jake versus Adesanya, too. Even though Adesanya got,
and he lost to a 1-2 punch, the most basic punch in boxing.
You're right, though, Sean Strickland. You're right.
Lost, and it was crazy because I wasn't sure when I was watching the fight with the last Adesanya versus Pereira fight, where Adesanya won with a knockout. And I'm like, damn, he's on the cage too much. He was putting that pressure on him. He's a great pressure fighter, Alex Pereira. But I was like, dang, I feel like the 1-2's open, but it is MMA, so I'm going to respect their sport. He got knocked out with the 1-2. Like, literally 4 minutes, like a round and a half before he got knocked out. Because it went to like the second or third round. And I'm like, dang, I feel like he's open for the 1-2, but that could just be the boxer in me. You still got to watch out for kicks and takedowns. So let me not say that. Yeah. So I respected the sport. Some they don't do. MMA people. I just not all of them, just some of them. Like.
So let me get this on the record. This probably be the part that I clip. Let me get this on the record. You think that Jake Paul would what do you think he'll do against Alex Pereira?
Jake Paul versus Pereira. Weight classes, I heard they are like 30 pounds apart. Okay. Any UFC fighter, the champion UFC fighter, whoever's at the same weight as Jake Paul, whoever the UFC champ, unless you said record, is the part you clipping? We're gonna double check it. Y'all hear me? I don't care. I don't care. I'm making educated guesses here. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Y'all got lucky. Jake Paul will beat the champion that's current in the UFC at his weight class in a boxing match.
Okay.
Who's ever your top dog that's at his weight is going to lose.
I think Strickland is around his weight. Strickland isn't the champion. I think
Strickland loses too.
Hey.
I'm sorry. He's got 6-7 years now, straight boxing. True. These guys, yes, they are boxing and doing training camps, but they're also doing mixed martial arts. And yes, they might take a year off of boxing. and then do this and then take 4 months back into MMA for, to keep their MMA sharp just in case, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I understand they're practicing it all year. You're not practicing it to the same degree as a boxer.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, like, to burst your bubble.
Hey.
Boxing will always be the chess of board games. Like, in terms of sports. In terms of combat sports, I'm sorry.
All
in
right.
terms of combat sports, boxing will always be chess. MMA is checkers to boxing. And I only say, you want to know why I say that?
Yeah.
Look at all the champions, and it could be just because it's progressing. We're watching a small creation of UFC because it's still they're like it's 20 whatever, blah, blah, blah. But MMA's only been around for like 50, 60, 70 years. Yes, it's been around since the Roman Empire, but it's not been on the scale that boxing has been on.
Yeah, younger than 50, 70 years, more around like 25, 30.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm talking about like on a premier level. Like it's not like been on no boxing,
Nah.
That's so I'm saying we're probably seeing the progression maybe in 50, 60 years, maybe. Because you just see everybody's getting knocked out, records looking different, 42-2 is trash in boxing. Fucking 29-19 is amazing in UFC. He beat 29 champions in the UFC. This guy is a danger. He's beat 29 guys.
Facts.
Bump the losses and they mine. You got to be perfect. And Floyd still gets flack for it.
That's true.
So, I mean, like, boxing will always be the chess of combat, or at least for now.
Yeah.
Like, when I saw Adesanya and Pereira, I was like, damn, this is an art. Like, they're getting chopped up. They starting from the ankle up. They were breaking somebody down. I thought it was beautiful work. I'm like, oh, this is, I see Khabib Nurmagomedov wrestle. I'd be like, cool. I see Conor McGregor strike. I'd be like, it's cool. Because we're boxing. Like, I'm not, it's not the same. Like, I'm never going I respect their striking. But like, I see UFC fans hate boxing and then praise Conor McGregor. And what's the one guy? He's like, I'm the best boxer in the UFC. He's like, I don't know. He's like Brazilian, maybe. I'm mad I forgot his name.
Is he a newer fighter or?
Nah, I forgot his name. He's like Brazilian or something of that nature. Brazilian, maybe Spanish, hardcore Italian. Nah, like an Italian, maybe. Brazilian looking guy.
If y'all know who he's talking about, get in the comments.
Yeah, I forgot. Well, anyways, like they praise these guys that box in the UFC, Conor McGregor, but they don't praise boxers when they strike, or Alex Pereira throwing a left hook. You really think Alex Pereira got a better left hook than? Come on, bro. I ain't gonna say Jake Paul, but Jake Paul got a better overall package.
As a boxer, all he do is box. Yeah,
he ain't got no better left hook than you know what I'm saying. Like I can name a list of people. I mean, shit, there's too many. I can name 3 for you. One, like, come on, bro. I can name the left hookers of the boxing world. Like, it's not competing, bro. You really gonna say a person that only strikes? Y'all say all y'all do is strike. You gonna tell me a person that all he do is strike? You're better than that guy.
Yeah, at a striking contest, no.
At a striking punch output, like.
Yeah, nah.
And even if it is more powerful, God bless you. Like you're not finna set it up like no boxer in no boxing match like they do. So I just think Jake Paul got the overall round package. In terms to beat Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
To beat a UFC fighter. I still think he got a lot of finding himself to do. I like him with Jevion Love. I wish he would because he's kind of got a stocky build and he boxes a lot. Like he uses the ring a lot, but I mean he's facing UFC fighters. So all they do, the average UFC fight, when I've been in the ring with UFC fighters or MMA fighters, anyways, not UFC. I haven't really been in with no UFC guys. I've trained with them. I forgot the one guy's name out here in Fort Myers. But I'm having mental blocks. Forgive me for not knowing y'all's names. But they're tough, but they come forward a lot. Or they do take a lot of damage, like in terms of taking damage. Like I feel like sometimes they might be able to take better damage, but that's not a good thing.
Nah.
That's not a good thing when you got a Shakur, you have the Floyds, the Sweet Peas. I mean, how far you want me to go back? Sugar Rays, I just think Jake Paul wins against Alex Ferreira and them. Conor McGregor, he beats him up too. Conor McGregor lost his money on Mike Perry.
Yeah, that's probably why he was mad for real.
Yeah, like he really damn, I can't believe you lost this guy. He can't believe it.
Yeah.
He can't believe it. And I think that's why a lot of UFC fighters are coming. You've seen Nate Diaz versus Masvidal in a boxing match.
Facts.
Unless they were doing it for their health and was like, nah, I don't want to do MMA. I just want to. If you did it for your health but still want to fight because boxing is, blah, blah, blah. All right, whatever. But they went in a whole boxing match because they've been in some and they're like, oh shit, this is really it has to be that. It has to be, wow, this is really there. I mean, look at Conor after the Floyd fight, how humble he was.
Yeah.
Man, he was so good. It was like I seen the punches, and I was like, wow. He's seeing the art being displayed. He's seeing the breakdown of it.
Yeah.
Oh, it really is an art. It's not just two gorillas fighting.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, he's astonished.
Right.
Why are they coming here? Because you're making more money?
Facts.
Is that why?
I think that's the reason.
They made more. So Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz would have made more money boxing than UFC. Why boxing? Why would they have made more money in boxing?
With them two in particular?
More fans. It's an older sport. Maybe. I guess I could see that too.
I don't know about them two in particular, because I think the MMA fighters, when they come to boxing, is more about like the personalities. Like Conor and Floyd, that was a perfect like personality clash. Like everything that Jake Paul going on, he got the kids, he got the internet type situation.
Yeah.
So, and like you said, people still unbelievable. It's still unbelievable that he winning anything because people they not listening when a person like you say he been boxing for 7-8 years now. They only remember him from
Jake
being a
Paul's
YouTuber.
he's on his 6th year now. So now it's and he has the money and he's training with the right people and he's paying for crazy training camps and staying around champions.
Yeah.
I mean,
hey, that boy ain't doing no testing either. They ain't saying
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But yeah.
Why? Because he getting knockouts?
Nah, I just know he ain't doing no testing for real.
Oh, well, they do be exhibition bouts, so I guess
Yeah.
He could be juicing.
Hey,
I'm not gonna say that. Yeah, I ain't gonna say all that now.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Hey,
but if you put him on the juice and whatever UFC fighter that's at his weight as a champion on the juice, I still got Jake Paul. Juice or no juice?
I feel you. Yo, him versus Ryan Garcia. Nah, Ryan would probably not probably. He would destroy that man.
I don't know. He kind of heavier. They meeting on weight. I mean, he got a shot now.
Who, Jake?
He don't got a shot, but he got a shot. I mean, because in my mind, I'm hearing 140, and when I see Jake Paul, I'm always thinking he's a heavyweight. I don't know what weight class he fights at.
I think he's around like 85.
85?
Yeah.
But what would Ryan? I mean, he could exhibition it. I mean, I guess I'd have Ryan. I'd have Ryan because of experience. I'll take Ryan over Jake. Yeah. But that weight is look, size don't mean shit. I beat up a lot of people big in the gym, but size don't mean shit when y'all both got the same IQ in the ring.
I think Ryan still got way more IQ too.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I say Ryan. That's the only reason why I pick Ryan. I'm gonna just give it to him because he's got too much experience. Over 100 amateur fights, a bunch of pro fights, and even though he's not a champion, he's fighting at that champion level and beating them up, regardless how you feel about Devin Haney or blah blah blah, steroids and weight. I mean, which could be a big factor. I'm not disclosing that. I just don't want to talk about that. I'm just saying I'm gonna give it to him because of experience. But like a dude with 100 amateur fights that fights at 175, and a dude with 100 amateur fights that fights at 140. You know, I mean, what are they meeting up at? You know, then you got to ask these questions because if you're talking about, you know, say a person with 100 amateur fights, that's 140, and a person with 100 amateur fights, that's 175. What weight class are they meeting at? Because you telling me you want the guy that's 140 to gain 25 pounds of muscle? What is that? 140 to 175. That's 35 pounds. You want him to gain 35 pounds of muscle in 3 months and still be the same?
Nah, that's impossible.
And then you want a guy that fights at 175 that's already working out crazy to meet the other guy at 140?
Yeah.
It's not.
I wonder what Ryan walk around weight is though.
It's probably big. It's probably like one.
Yeah.
My bet would be max 185. But how
Yeah.
much of it is water and fat boy weight, you know, too at the same time? Boxing bodies are a little different. Or, you know, I'm sure combat is a little different. Boxing specifically because they hone in on one number specifically. So it's like 147. You got to be 147.0 or under.
Yeah. Well, that was a good one, man. I appreciate you coming on and everything you talk about. Remember what he said about Alex Pereira and Jake Paul. Definitely gonna put it out there because I know people gonna eat that up, and other people got curiosities about how that might play out. I ain't get to. Did you think Bud pull it out or Israil?
Yeah, I got Bud.
In what round? Or do you think it's a decision?
8-11. I think Bud could break him
11?
down.
The TKO?
TKO to KO. Because it could be more KO because he could break him down and then drop him, and then he's on the floor.
All right, bro, for sure. We appreciate you coming on.